What is up, you guys? I currently just got back from my walk. Try to go on walks pretty frequently. Um, just walk like a mile just to clear my head. Didn't have work. Well, I had work after work. Um, just to yeah, clear my head and do all that stuff. See nature and all that, whatever. Um, but today's topic is gonna be during the walk, I kind of started thinking about like how long ago, like it's been like 7 months, like post breakup, which now I'm airing this out on the internet, but whatever. Um, and I was just thinking like, I see like all the time on social media about people, like how they like can't get over their breakup and they don't know what to do, all the mental um, hardships that come with that, and like kind of how to get out of that rut. Definitely didn't know how to combat all that stuff right after mine, and I felt like I could give some insight just because it's happened to me and kind of what my journey was like with that. So kind of right after it all happened, and I'm not going to get into any details, but um, definitely didn't approach it the right way. Didn't take care of my mental. Um, the gym was definitely a huge asset to making sure I didn't go insane, because you really can fall into a dark hole with all that, especially you know when you become codependent uh, on your other person and having to be on your own. So you got to figure out, one, like what do you like to do now? How are you gonna how are you gonna take care of yourself, by yourself without relying on another person? So figure out what you really love to do, and get lost in that. Uh, get lost in it, and find your passion with this stuff, and just be so distracted with your passions that you don't have time to worry about what the other person is doing, what other people are doing. Worry about yourself. And they say the grass is always greener on the other side, and that's true. You gotta Most of the time it's more green on the other side because it's fake. Social media, you can really get drawn into these narratives that people put out to make themselves look good, and you don't need to get caught up in all that. There's really no reason to. Maybe their life is that great, but I guarantee you most of the time it's not. And if you focus on wetting your grass and taking care of it, taking care of the mental aspect, the physical aspect, the spiritual aspect, and really honing in on yourself, you're gonna feel a lot better, about yourself and the whole situation and how it all ended and all that. And you're gonna be able to work on the things that you needed to work on. And I know a lot of times people, they go in and out of relationships and they don't realize, like, they don't take into account or take inventory on what they did wrong. They kind of just, maybe they'll cope about what the other person did, or every reason why you weren't at fault. And sometimes you just got to realize, like, maybe you're not perfect, I'm not perfect, I'm definitely not perfect. um and sometimes you just got to take it on the chin and realize that you're human, and we all make mistakes, and you got to learn to live with them and work on them. So you know if you can take one thing away from this, is it's reflect on how it all happened and what went wrong with it, and work on those things. And that can be done in a lot of forms. um, but again, it's working on the mental, physical, and spiritual aspects of yourself, so that when this situation comes again, and you'll be prepared, and you have worked on yourself, and you're not gonna, you know the cycle will repeat itself if it's not corrected. So if you continue to, go down that cycle, it's going to be ultimately your fault and not anybody else's. Having that humility to work on yourself and avoid blaming your avoid blaming others. Like, never do, like, there's no good in that. And me personally, I've really tried to stay away from that. And even if maybe was their fault, maybe something they did was completely their fault. um you always got to look inward and try to figure out what could I have done differently to be the best version of myself in all situations. Don't use it don't use somebody else's mishaps, um to make yourself blind on what you could have worked on. So that's kind of the main things that I focus on right after. And it definitely didn't happen right away. They say time heals all, and it's so true. And that was one of the hardest things, for me personally, to realize, was like it's just going to take time, to get over it. And one day you're going to wake up and you're going to feel okay again. It's different for everybody. Everybody has their own timeline, but eventually it will be okay. Like, you'll live, and it probably won't matter in 5 years. And I know that, like, thinking about it now, it probably is, too drastic of a timeline to think 5 years ahead that it won't matter, because it matters so much to you now. I know it does. Matters so much to you, and it hurts you, but things will be better. And if you take care of yourself and take care of the people around you and love the people around you, and in take care of yourself ultimately, that's gonna lead you in the right direction. And that's all you can really focus on, is making sure that you're going down the right road. You don't want to go in a circle and go back to where you were at and continue to feel that hurt. You need to take whatever step it is, no matter how long it takes, to make sure that you're going down the right path. So yeah, those are some of the things that I focused on right after mine, and I hope this helps somebody. Um, I hope, yeah, I hope there's something useful in this, and just ultimately know that everything's going to be okay. And if it didn't last, it wasn't supposed to. Everybody learns, everything's a learning experience. And, at the end of the day, we're all students. So we're all students of life. So take that as it is, and learn to accept it. So, yeah.